What is up, all you crazy mofos? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is going to be my friends over at House Call Pro. Anybody out there that is running a business, management, owner, whatever it may be, uh, House Call Pro is your best bang for your buck. And I cannot say that emphasizing bang for your buck. Um, Everybody thinks that they always need all these extras. And what happens is people don't even use them. They use other things because they're used to it. So they pay all this extra money for features that they don't even use. Where House Call Pro is packed full of features and it gives you exactly what you need to be able to run your business on the tech side and the office side. Um, Setting the schedule, extremely simple. Uh, Pulling reports as far as what you made that day, each individual technician, you name it, it is extremely simple to do. Uh, I always say I was their biggest critic, and all they did was prove me wrong. So I've always only represented companies that I used. And in the beginning, I wouldn't represent them because I was unsure. And like I said, once again, proved wrong time and time. They have a new pipeline feature that is absolutely amazing that I won't even do justice by trying to explain it. But it has got built in AI where you can drop something into invoice and it's gone. And it's absolutely amazing. So, anybody out there who is looking for a software, I'm telling you, go check out House Call Pro. You can use my discount code, and it's www.housecallpro.com/ HVAC Uncensored. They will give you a free 14-day trial, and I think it's 50% off your first 3 months. So check that out. And I was wrong. Our guest is here. I'm super excited. I thought I got mixed up and thought that he rescheduled, but he is here. So I'm super pumped that I see him in the waiting room. So I'm glad that I didn't start the show yet before he got in here. So we do have a great show for you guys tonight. I thought I messed up and I did not. But with that being said, let's get on to the next sponsor. Guys, next, you know what it is, my friends over at Bluon. And I've always talked about all the amazing things that they do for technicians. The tech support, the manuals, making it simple to order parts and keep track of things. Well, now with Bluon for contractors, Bluon for business, it's been called several different things. They are offering something to where now your boss can think about it from as a service manager, whatever it is, a service supervisor. How many technical phone calls you have to take in a day? And say, for example, as a service manager, you're supposed to be keeping track of all the average tickets of the people, the service revenue, service issues, whether it's callbacks, unhappy customers. Sometimes you can train as much as you possibly can, but you're still going to have those phone calls where people are going to call you saying, "Hey, I don't know this. I need help with that." What if all those phone calls could now be answered by Bluon? 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So your guys out on Christmas, God forbid. Hopefully, your guys aren't working on Christmas. But if they are, they have somebody to help them. You know, I get it. Sometimes you have to call, the tech support because it's under warranty or something like that, and you have to call the manufacturer. But for all those other issues, we all have that. Oh, it's 4:30, it's 4 o'clock, it's almost 5. Man, I got to hurry up and get there. Or we have to tell a customer, "Hey, I can't do this right now because I can't get in touch with tech support." Well, now that's no longer an excuse because Bluon has your back 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So now businesses, you can buy this for your technicians, giving them all of the tech support resources. And then they also are going to be able to order as many parts, look up manuals. It's going to be unlimited to all of your employees. So guys, please go check that out. I'm going to have a link for that soon. Right now, when you look in the show notes, it just goes to bluon.com. But pretty soon, I'm going to have a link where you click on it. It's going to take you just to that. And they're going to be able to offer discounts for you to try it before you decide to buy it. All right. So if you haven't already, go check out my friends over at Bluon. With that being said, let's get on with the pledge and get on with the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday night, another hump day. Guys, I got an amazing show for you tonight, and I'm super excited because I started to think that I messed up, and I thought that the guest rescheduled. I thought that I saw the scheduling software messed up, and then I saw them pop in the chat, so I'm super excited to meet this person. I guess I'll say it once we started, or I'll save it to the end to just say some news that I have for myself. But I'm super excited. I want to get on with this show. Guys, if our guest tonight, and this is going to be the first time, I didn't even get to talk to him pre-show because this is kind of weird. So when we first come on, it might be a little awkward because we weren't able to talk pre-show. But guys, this is Mr. Matt Murray. He is the blue collar king. Guy's ran his own business. He's been in for 20-something plus years, and then decided that he wanted to help other businesses with their pain points, which I think is absolutely amazing. And looking over and watching some of his videos, it's funny because I find a lot of things that he says I agree in the same way that I think 100%. So I'm just as excited to meet him as the rest of you are. So without further ado, guys, let's please welcome the blue collar king, Mr. Matt Murray. What's up, bro?
What's up, Gil? Thanks, my man. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought it said that you rescheduled, and I was like, oh shit, man. I thought that it was rescheduled to tonight. So anyway, I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah, likewise. I did reschedule. I don't remember when it was, the first one, I think, but I rebooked it for today. But I'm glad we were able to connect and hop on tonight. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm super pumped. So it's funny that I was going to wait to say this, not to make this about me, even though it's my show. A lot of people know that I've been in the field for a long time. I was a technician. I worked my way up and to different management places. And I have been the general manager, the right hand at Beltway for the last 4 years, Beltway Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. And I absolutely love that place. Love everything about it. Well, I just recently stepped away from there. Something in my heart, and it was the hardest thing because I love that place. I love the people. I love Ryan, who is the owner. He's one of my best friends in the world. I just felt like I want to help people, and I felt like there was more for me to do. And this is scary. It wasn't planned. It was just kind of your heart and your mind fighting against each other. And I appreciate Ryan for supporting me in this and not being like, hey, go fuck yourself, dude. We got a business to run. You can't leave. But he didn't, as always. Yeah, as always, he supported me. I love that man. There's not a bad thing I could say about him. And to everybody at Beltway who listens to this, I love all you guys. I know this was a big shock to all of you. Please know that I love each and every one of you. I will always be here for you, regardless of whether I work at Beltway. And this may not be goodbye. It may just be see you later. But I feel like this is something that I have to do. I have to at least try. And if I don't, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. So with that being said, the cat's out of the bag.
The cat's out.
No.
So what's next?
To be honest, I mean, a lot of it is I want to take this podcast to the next level. I mean, I've taken this. I mean, the podcast is world known. I mean, I've won awards for it. That's all great. But the main reason I started this is because I want to help people. Like, I love the technical side of it. I love, everything that I've learned being able to help people. And I feel like I wasn't doing that. Like, I loved what I was doing, The people were amazing, but I don't know. I just felt like I had to go try to risk something, and it was now or never. I'm not getting any younger. So it may end up being a horrible decision. It may be one of the best decisions I ever made, but I preach to people that you have to be uncomfortable to grow. So I had to do that myself. I was getting a little too comfortable. So
love it. That's one of the things that I tell people, coaching employees within our company or coaching clients is discomfort is the portal to expansion. And that's not taught enough, and it hasn't been taught enough in our society and our upbringing. And there's no way to grow. And I can remember growing, my company, and the little quick backdrop on me, started off in the trade, 1997, commercial industrial, came out of local 250 in Los Angeles, started my first company in 2003, second company, 2014, turned in the corner into 15. And then when I started investing in coaching and personal development and stuff like that, that's when I really started to learn, like, there's really no shortcut to growth. If you're going to grow, it's going to come with some cost, some investment, some price. And if you're going to grow personally as a human, it's going to touch the ego. It's going to hurt your pride a little bit, right? And you have to learn to swallow that, because there's no way around it. There's no shortcut. And I looked for the shortcut. I'm like, okay, I don't like that coach. He's hurt my feelings. I don't like this system or this mastermind or this group or whatever, right? And then I finally came to realize, like, this is the only way. The only way to the next level is through. There is no shortcut around. And like you said, that comes with some growing pains.
Yeah, it just has to be there, and sometimes you have to practice what you preach, and I also feel like, and you don't have to, obviously people listen to this, and I always express my opinion, but I feel like there's a lot of coaches out there that they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Whenever they're doing it just for the money, or they're doing it for the self-ego part, the end user is not getting what they're paying for. And it ends up being a bunch of jazz and a bunch of bullshit. And not saying that coaching is what I would do, but to be honest, I'm not sure. But if I was to do that, it would be something that I would be genuine, like I always have been, and it would be me, things that I know that have worked without all the fluff, if that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. And you're right. And you opened that door, right? I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about today, but for sure, the industry is saturated. It's crazy, like how many gurus and influencers and all these specialists. But dude, it's fake. There's so much Kool-Aid and Cool Whip out there being poured all over everybody. And when you're an entrepreneur, or even an employee or leader within the framework of someone else's company, it's easy to get sucked into the trap, because you want help, you want growth, and you look at that person and go, okay, it looks like they're living the life I want, so let me sign up for their thing. But unfortunately, a lot of those things out there, call it a coaching program, a training program, a seminar, a big box rah event, or whatever the heck it is, there is so much fakeness out there. And the more people that I decide to work with, and I get to pick and choose who I work with in the blue collar kingdom in terms of my coaching clients. It's amazing how many of these entrepreneurs have been through so many of these different programs, and they haven't grown. There hasn't been growth. There hasn't been transformation. There hasn't been change, because they've just been put into these cookie cutter rah systems or seminars or workshops or online courses that don't do anything. And that's not coaching. That's not coaching. Coaching and teaching are two totally different things. And that's one of the things that I do right up front with people. Is I say, let me tell you the difference between true coaching, what coaching really is, not what all the gurus are calling coaching, but what is real coaching. Real coaching is hands-on. Real coaching is, I know you. I know your strengths, but more so, I know your weaknesses and I know your blind spots, and I'm building something custom for you, and I'm on the battlefield with you, and I'm giving you a kick in the butt when and where you need it most to help you overcome your weaknesses, and I'm highlighting and reinforcing your strengths. That's coaching, and that doesn't happen in a workshop. And it sure as hell doesn't happen in a seminar or an arena. And it really doesn't happen in an online course. It just doesn't.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I've been to a bunch of these, and I won't say some of their names. And it's not that I think what they teach is bad, but different things work in different parts of the country as far as how long your summer is, how long your winter is. The kind of systems that you have in this area. Is the ductwork all in the attic? Is it in a crawl space? Like, all these things are different, so it can't be cookie cutter. And one of my friends said in here, which is exactly what I was going to say, is implementation. The reason that's how some of these guys, that's their fallback. Oh, I taught them what they needed to know. They just didn't implement it. Okay, well, that's part of the problem. That's why they paid you however thousands of dollars. And then I hear what some of these people are charging. And then after they leave, everything they sold got canceled. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Insane. It's insane. And that's exactly what you nailed it right there, right? Like, I need help. I don't just need you to talk at me for 8 hours for a day or 2 days or 3 days. You're 197 hours for $197 of training courses. Okay, cool. Love the information. The information's probably accurate, but does it work across the board? No. And help me, right? Like, I can read a book on how to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I need the sensei to teach me. I can't learn how to be effective. I can't grow at any decent rate of speed without someone helping me implement, someone helping me execute, someone watching me, right?
Yeah.
If we could learn in an arena, if we could learn at a seminar, if we could learn from online courses, why don't we just send the football teams to watch more online courses and go to more seminars? Because it doesn't work.
Nope. I love one of your videos, and I watched, and to be honest, there's so many different people. Until you scheduled, I honestly didn't know who you were. And then there's so many different people, but I'm glad that I do now, because watching a bunch of your videos, I'm like, holy shit, this is exactly how I feel. And that's not just me saying that because you're here. Like, one of the things that we did at Beltway, which is I will always be proud of, is the culture that we created. And everybody loves coming to work. They're all friends. And it's amazing how you said, when everybody's going in the right direction, it just makes a lot of those little nuance issues no longer problems. You know what I mean? And everybody preaches culture. And I want people to know that no two cultures can be the same. The people are what make that culture. But I feel like a lot of people think they have good culture, but they don't. And from living that culture for 4 years, which is why I love that place, and walking away from it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. And I've had a pretty fucked up life as far as some of the things I've had to do. But I think that is like kind of the foundation that you have to lay. People have to, the technicians hold all the cards. They have to want to come to work. They have to be paid well. They have to love what they're doing. And if you can't provide that, then what are you're a stopover. That's all you are.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Culture, as the cliche saying goes, culture eats strategy for lunch. And one of the tests of a strong culture is, I know that you always see a person's true colors at their highest highs and their lowest lows. And the test of a culture is, how do they come together when the shit hits a fucking fan, for one. For two, how does that culture solve problems? You can have all the cliche 21, strategies to being a leader and the this and the that, but culture is, how well do we solve problems? How do we come together as community when the shit hits the fan? And how do we take care of business and produce results, right? Yeah. That's one of the foundational 3 things that I look at when building a culture or assessing a culture. Those are some very important components.
Yeah, no, for sure. Before dropping all of my shit on you when you first came in, I know that you were in business for yourself for a while. Before we get too far ahead, a little bit about who Matt is and how you eventually became the blue collar king.
Yep. Yeah, so rewinding back again. So I got into HVAC in 1997 as a technician in the union doing commercial industrial work. And I worked for a big company. We had a service department, a retrofit department, and construction division as well. And the construction division didn't do so hot and end up kind of sinking the ship for the company. We got laid off. I got laid off, and I ended up just kind of on my own. Started with a family or friend, side job, a residential replacement, and one turned into two and two to four. And then the next thing you know, Evolution Mechanical was born. That journey started in June of 2003. I still have Evolution Mechanical today. I still own that company 100%. There's no partners. My dad didn't give it to me. I built that thing from the ground up out of my bedroom in Buena Park, California. And I did 10 to 12 years of like hard sweat equity, beating my head against the wall, like the ups, the downs, the trials, the tribulations, the make money, lose money, hire people, lose people. I mean, literally, I did the school of hard knocks for a decade. And then I realized like, okay, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a way to grow a business. And me being a great technician, I thought that trial and error was how you build a business. It's not. Well, you can if you want to, pay the piper and have a lot of financial pain and emotional pain. Build a business with a trial and error mindset. That's a great mindset to have as a technician, but it's a suicidal mindset to have as an executive or an entrepreneur. The best way to grow a business is to pay for intellect and borrow somebody else's wisdom, experience, their blueprint, and their help. That's what I finally came to learn. And I tell people one of two things are going to happen. You will either select to become humble, or you will at some point get humbled when the fire is too much for your ass and you can't take it anymore. Amen. I had a big ego and I'm hard-headed, so I was trying to figure it out myself. And finally I tapped and I got humbled by the system. It won, I lost, and I reached out for help. And that's where my journey kind of began, my personal development journey, 2016-ish, 2015. I signed up for a peer advisory board and did some seminars and started reading books and self-help and leadership and personal development. And I did the big box stuff, the big box training and seminars and workshops. I was part of CEO Warrior. Mike's amazing. Learned a lot there. And then I learned about these hands-on kind of tactical coaches that did more groundwork stuff. And that's where I really started to take off. And I ended up hiring a guy named Nicky. And I owe it all to him and a few others, but mostly Nicky. I had a one-on-one coaching call every week with Nicky for 5 years straight. And Nicky really developed me and showed me the way to becoming a true leader and evolving myself and becoming a better human, and then helping me to grow and scale my business, and then learning how to help and grow other people, like what you were saying at the beginning, right? It's got to be about people. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I do at Evolution Mechanical. Evolution Mechanical looks like a HVAC refrigeration company. On the surface, it's a human development company. We're a leadership and a human transformation company that does HVAC. And then I take that same system, that same framework, and the companies that I work with in terms of consulting and coaching, I help them build the same. And we create a different mission, a different vision, something built with a noble purpose and a noble cause for impact for the people. And the byproduct of that is we make some really good money and some really good profit, but we're not looking at that first and foremost. Do we need to look at cash flow in any organization as the oxygen of the blood? Sure, but we're not building the kingdom just to get a return on investment for the investors or for the owner. We're building kingdoms to help people grow. And that's what it's all about, and that's what I do.
No, that's awesome. And my whole thing is I've always felt like when you help other people grow, you help customers grow, or whatever it is, then money will find you. But if you press and you worry about the money, you chase it. You're never fulfilled. It never fills the hole, the void that you think you have. I've made money, lost money. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Money will never fill any void. It just won't. That's why you hear about the people who say they win the lottery and guess what? They're still lonely and sad because it doesn't matter. And that was just going back to my previous point. I feel like a lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. And that's why I love to watch some of your videos. It just came across genuine. It wasn't, hey, look at me. You know what I mean? I rented this Lambo to drive around to show you how much money I have. You know what I mean? I just, and some of the dudes out there, I love them. They're great people. I just don't like how they go about what they do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's everything's built on money, and that's their tool to measure success. People say, "Oh, I built a $20 million business, 50, 100." Like, why does everyone? Why has that become the measure of success? That's not the measure of success. Or like what you said, I'm not building based on net profit numbers or revenue top line. Like bigger is not better. Better is better. And what you said, abundance and fulfillment and feeling good about what you're doing, that's the ultimate reward. And you can't buy that. You have to build that by being an honest person, by being truthful, and by doing things ethically and doing things the right way. Can you shortcut your way into a lot of money by short-circuiting the system, social media, people, Kool-Aid, Cool Whip? Absolutely. But that is a shortcut, and those shortcuts don't pay in the long term. You don't get the results when you build stuff unethically. You don't get the abundance. You don't get the fulfillment.
Yeah, no. And most of the multimillionaires that I've had the privilege of meeting, every single one of them says, I wanted to make enough money to buy back my time.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I can always make more money, but I can't, watch my daughter, at that recital or whatever it is. And that's one of the things I love spreading in the trade, because back being a technician or a business owner, I mean, more for the tech side, it was, oh, you work your dick in the dirt and that's just the way it is. This is what you make. You gotta run 15 calls, suck it up. If you don't do it, then you're not a man. Well, that's just not true. And there's so many places proving that. And I just, I want more people to realize, especially younger people coming in, that you can make a shit ton of money in this industry as a technician, as a business owner, as a manager, whatever you choose, in whatever avenue, commercial, residential, refrigeration, air conditioning, doesn't matter. But it doesn't have to be that way at all. And I love that people are proving that. I really think that's amazing. So 2016 is when you started actually a Blue Collar King and started actually coaching people?
No, so that's when I started my journey of getting coached. So my personal development journey as an entrepreneur, as a leader, started around 2015, 2016-ish. And I still own Evolution Mechanical today. So Blue Collar King was born, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And I didn't really know what it was at first. And where the name came from. It was from my wife, Heather, or an employee or whatever. We were talking about something. They're like, you should become the Blue Collar King and go help other business owners do what you've done. Right. And I tried on the idea of it, and I talked to my coach, and my coach had told me there's two types of personality profiles as an entrepreneur. You can be a visionary or an integrator. I've always been high visionary, and a visionary is a better leader, a better teacher, a better coach, a better innovator. Not so good at management. So I was never really good at management, and managers are more consistent and more patient. So what I did years ago with the help of my coach is we started framing me as the coach or consultant within the context or framework of my own business. We positioned me that way. We got me out of the management roles, and I started acting as if I was coaching everybody in my own company, and it worked amazing. And then we started grooming me, and he started teaching me. And, by now it's 2023 or whatever. I've invested a ton of money in my personal development, in learning about how to scale and grow businesses, in structure, system, leadership, culture, mindset, business psychology, all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go out on the market. So Blue Collar King, I just started putting me out there, just started putting content and stuff out there. And I made an offer to work with some people, and I got hit up. I picked up 10 clients right off the bat from one simple little Facebook post. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for 5 HVAC companies that want to scale quicker, faster. and boom, 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 boom. And I just started coaching people. So I got certified in a few different scaling systems a while ago. So I use some tools, like some formal scaling tools. There's EOS out there, Entrepreneur Operating System. There's Scale Up and Scaling Up. There's many different formal business operating tactics and systems. So I've used a few of those. I've curated some of my own tools along the way. And now I just go out and I help entrepreneurs that are humble and want to grow quicker, faster.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to do that. I mean, I've helped build some decent sized businesses. Beltway is, going to be a $10 million company here soon. But I don't know. I guess in the beginning, I think that I could help people 100%. I just don't know if I could be like, hey, and this is just me personally, in my next thing, maybe if I worked for another place and helped do theirs, I could do that. But I don't know if I could charge people for, you know what I mean? Right now, because I don't have all that kind of stuff dialed in.
Right.
But yeah, I would help people what I know business wise. I'd help them in whatever way. And I just think that is definitely a passion of mine. Whether I go that route or not, I'm not sure. But I admire the fact that you did it and it's working, because I know it's a big step. That's awesome. I love that.
Well, I'll send you an application. I'm looking for somebody.
Hey, let me know. I really, this is the first time ever in my life. Obviously, I have other sources of income, so it's not like Ryan did take care of me, so it is a big chunk gone. But I'm okay. But yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things that I just felt it in my heart, and it wouldn't go away. It was just kind of stuck there, and then my head was like, "You're a fucking moron. What are you doing? Blah blah blah. What are you doing?" And
you got to follow your heart. You got to follow your passion, for sure. Love it. And the last records I looked at, there's 141,000 HVAC contractors in the United States of America. 99.9% of them need help. And they need the right help. They need a real system, real tools, real tactics, real coaches, real guides that will get in the trenches and help them grow. I mean, there's a need. There's a big need for people that are going to do it the right way. Not to buy more Lambos and not to look cool on a stage, but to actually get in the trenches with people and help them build something meaningful and impactful. And that's what it's all about. I mean, that's.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel that way 100%. Hey, Rookie, all jokes aside, I know that Rookie's just joking, but I don't want that to get out as a joke, because there was no firing like that. And the reason I say to be careful is, the way me and Ryan decided to do this is I just took a week off and then didn't come back. So that I didn't want to make me leaving about me. I didn't want the employees to be sad, upset. I felt like that was the best way to do it. So I just don't want them to watch and think anything bad. You know what I mean? So. Somebody said, was any of this sponsor influenced? No, it actually wasn't. I mean, obviously the podcast makes really good money. So, but it's always been extra, and I want to keep it that way. So how big is your company?
Evolution Mechanical?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Evolution Mechanical is set up to do 20 million is where it's currently structured, just in 2 locations. So we're looking at expansion now. We have a $30 million roadmap and infrastructure and system, but I'm at a place where I'm really passionate about what I'm doing with Blue Collar King and where we're growing and how we're growing. And I'm putting most of my energies there. And like I was saying earlier, bigger is not better. I could plug into PE and I could have a $200 million operation if I wanted, like the gurus, the cool guys, but why? It's just not where I'm at and not what I'm building. I'm building better, not bigger. And that it's not about top line. It's about net profit, but it's more so about cultural profit and people's happiness and us having a vehicle for people to get what they want.
That's fucking awesome. I think I love you, man. That I just love the way you say that, because that is what I've preached since I've been here for years, and that's, and a lot of people say this, oh, I have a $20 million company on social media. Right. And then you find out they're a $10 million company. It's like, okay, well, why can't you just be proud of being a $10 million company? But then also 100%. How much are you actually making? You know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather be a $5 million company with, 20% net profit than a $10 million company with 5% net profit and no cash flow.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's $100 million companies out there that aren't making money. And it's not about top line. It's just not.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So when you first started getting into it, I mean, obviously you had your company. I mean, was it, did you feel risky? I mean, were you excited, nervous a little bit? I'm just curious how those emotions happen.
Yeah, it was definitely scary. At first, you get the excited emotions. You're like, oh, okay, this is fun, cool. I'm gonna have my own company. But then you're like, okay, but the sense of security and safety of having a paycheck every Friday, what about that? So there's lots of different emotions that go through. At the time I was young, I was 28. And I've always been kind of more of a risk taker. I like fast boats and cars and, small airplanes and stuff. So I'm a risk taker and I like being an adrenaline junkie. But it is scary and it's hard. And there was times growing the business and cash flow can still get tight where you are like, wow, how am I going to get payroll covered? And you're running around chasing money and trying to get paid from your vendors or your customers. And, it's chaos. It's really stressful. It's hard to grow a business. It's really, really, really freaking hard. And it is an emotional thing and it is scary as hell. And it's also scary as hell to invest and to help and invest in a community and trust people, especially when there are so many people out there that have been like taken to the cleaners, So but it's nuts.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I say, like running a business, it sucked. I mean, that wasn't fun to me. I mean, just being honest, the people is what made it, and seeing the results of things and challenging myself. But I tell people, like, running a business is not easy. It's not. Not everybody can do it, and that's why so many fail. And yeah. I always tell technicians, a lot of times it is the side work that starts into a business. You can be the best technician in the world, doesn't mean you're going to be a good business owner. It's two different skill sets. Like I said, I like the helping, but the day-to-day monotony of running a business, it just gave me headaches, and stress. I rather help somebody do what they have to do and then move on to help somebody else. But just the day-to-day monotony just got to be where it wasn't fun. And I think that I stuck around for the people that I fell in love with more than actually the task that I was doing, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, and you've been in you've been in HVAC, you've been in the trade for 21 years ish.
Yeah.
Anything, can become tiring. I love HVAC. I absolutely love it. I own Evolution Mechanical. I don't want to run Evolution Mechanical anymore. I've had it for 20, what is it now? It's 23 years, 24 years. I've been in the trade for 27 years, right? Like, I don't want to run a business anymore. I'm burnt. Everybody can get burnt. It's a lot of stress, but it's also a lot of fun. But what I found is at some point you got to move on and you got to move up. And if you can get to a place where you're burnt out, there's other people that don't know how to do that job and they're ready to get excited about that stuff. And if you can then take what you've learned and what you don't want to do anymore and transfer that knowledge and train and groom and help other people in those roles, it's a win-win for everybody, because you get to delegate and hand off and become a coach or a teacher or a mentor to others that haven't been through that stuff yet. And that's what's amazing too, is that the more people you can help to get what they want, the more you get what you want.
Yeah.
And I don't know who coined that, Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar or whatever, right? But just like we were talking about with the money and the profit, the revenue, don't focus on that. Just focus on helping people get what they want. And the natural byproduct of that's going to be you get what you want in terms of your fulfillment and abundance. And yes, probably some financial freedom as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've just never been that 9 to 5 kind of person. I just, I I don't know. It's I wish that I could go back and redo things, but don't we all? That's just the way. It's just the way it works.
Yeah.
And you're out of California, aren't you?
I am. I'm based in Southern California.
Nice, nice. So when you first started, were you helping coaching local companies, or right off the bat it was traveling? I'm just curious.
No, it started off on Zoom. So I do a mix now. I have a couple of different programs. I have like an online courses only that are all done through Zoom. And then I have a mix that are a little bit on site and with Zoom. And then I have some clients where it's a lot of on site or one-on-one work.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. And even one thing I will say, even some of the ones that I joke about that I think they do it differently than I would as far as the flashiness, I still give them the kudos for going to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
for going to start it. I mean, because it does take, some cojones to be able to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, that's definitely sweet. And I do love your logo. I love the Blue Collar King,
Thank
the
you.
whole logo and everything. It's pretty sweet.
Thank you. Yeah, that's iteration number 2. We did the first one and it didn't came. It was real simple and it was just plain Jane and kind of generic by design originally. And I just didn't like it and we scrapped it. And for those of you that have businesses or just get starting off, if you're trying to figure out your branding or your logo or whatever, I have no affiliation or whatever, but you can just go to Logo Tournament and it's a super cool website. You go on Logo Tournament and you kind of tell them what you want. And what they do is they put it out to freelancers and everyone will kind of bid on your logo or your graphic and you get a bunch of different samples and stuff and it's super cost effective. So that's how I end up doing it, is using that service, which was pretty cool. You get a lot of different designers, a lot of different creative mindsets working on one thing. So you get lots of different variations of what you're looking for.
That's awesome. Well,
Yep.
if you're looking for another sign, I have this round LED sign in the back. It's
Yep.
called Afro. I forget the name of it, but there's a bunch of other influencers that have them, and I can send you the details.
Okay.
But yours would look awesome. The signs they make are absolutely amazing.
Yep.
I got the 36-inch round one. Things built
Nice.
like a fucking tank. But just I saw yours in a circle, and I was just thinking, like, damn, that would look awesome with one of their signs.
Yeah. Send me the info. I'll order one for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely sweet. I love that. When I bought a new house just a few months ago, which you should never buy a new house and then leave your job. Just advice to other people. But yeah, I was like, man, I need something to make the new studio pop, and that thing's been awesome. Hanging it up, when I picked it up, I was like, holy shit, this thing is a beast.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And the other thing that I like going through, some of your stuff, and where'd it go? I had your website pulled up, is the things that you share. Like when I go back to what we were talking about, like even from a coach or somebody who's going to advise me, and when I'm looking at their social media, are they consistent in what they say? Which I do think that you're 100% consistent. Literally in the last 2 days, I've probably watched every single one of your videos.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so consistency in what they say, are they genuine about what they say? And then how are their relationships with the people that they love? And that is something that's huge. As somebody, my Christian faith means the world to me. It's helped me, pulled me out of a lot of gutters. And that's how I look at that kind of interaction, and seeing those different, pictures and moments that you're sharing just says a lot. So, I mean, I definitely, it sucks that I didn't know you before, but this is why I love this podcast, because I've got to meet so many fucking amazing people over the years. That is absolutely awesome. So I feel like I'm sitting here.
Thank you. I just want to point out, by no means do I appreciate the kudos and stuff like that. I'm a product of getting out there and just doing the work, but messing up. I am in no way, shape, or form like the guy that just perfect and everything lined up just right. It took me 27 years to get to where I'm at today. I've learned everything the hard way. I'm hard-headed. I have to be told multiple times what not to do. Like that's just. But what you can do and learn is just know, like, put yourself out there. Like, just do the work, take the promotion, quit the job, do whatever you got to do. And for sure, like, don't worry about what these trolls are going to say, you know, on social media. If you're putting yourself out there, F everybody. Do the damn thing. Everybody, we're all just trying to learn and grow and get better. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. No one's perfect. No one's got it figured out. But for sure, just be real. Like, you gotta be real. You gotta own your shit. You gotta tell the truth. You gotta spit the facts. If you make some mistakes or do whatever, you know, just own it and clean it up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I live my life, and one of the biggest compliments I've ever got in doing this show is when people say, they're like, I love the fact that you're genuine, and when I meet you in person, you're the same person that you are on camera, and that means the world to me, because that's something that I hold near and dear. I don't want to be different, you know, to do a podcast, and and there's a lot of people out there that are the same way, but there's sadly been some others that, you know, you can see how they've tried to change their personality, and especially blue collar tradesmen and women, they'll eat through that shit. You know what I mean? They'll see through it in a heartbeat. And so I guess that's why I've been podcasting for 10 years. It's crazy that's been that long, but it's funny.
Everyone tells me, they're like, dude, you got to launch a podcast. I'm like, man, I don't need a podcast. I'll just go on Guild and some other guys. I don't need my own podcast. I don't have time for that. I don't know how to do it. It just sounds like something else I got to be committed to. I mean, I know it's not easy. It seems, probably from the outside looking in, it seems easy, right? Like, show up and just shoot the shit every week for 45 minutes or an hour. But there's a lot of shit behind the scenes. You got to be committed. You got to be consistent. You got to find people. Like, it's a whole machine that I'm not ready for yet.
Yeah, and I just fell into it. Like, it was weird, and I did, like, you go back and listen to my beginning episodes. It sounds like I'm talking inside of a tin can, you know, sitting on my back deck with a USB microphone, like, hey, this is good, you know, and you start to learn shit as you go. But I feel like it's like anything else. Like, podcasting is fun. The live streaming thing is the community and stuff like that. And that's why I've continued to do it. If people, like, I have the same group of people, like, the audio is what pays the bills around here, not the video. Trying to build that kind of stuff up. But right. I have the same guys that are in here every week, and I enjoy seeing them. A lot of these guys are my friends I talk to outside of work. And that's what's always been me as a people person. So I just, and plus I got a big mouth, so that always helps doing a podcast. But yeah, it's definitely fun. It's like anything else, but I'll keep doing it until people stop listening to me, I guess. But I guess so for you, when you walked away from your company, it really wasn't like playing at your heartstrings, because you knew you were doing what was best for your company and chasing your passion, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So when I started doing the coaching, you know, it got me away. And it's funny, like, the farther I got away and was more coaching and consulting my own company, it actually started to work better. And like I talked about, those two kind of leadership personality profiles, visionary or integrator, I got people that were better than me at managing the machine and managing others, and I got out of the way. And that's a hard thing to do when you're a business owner. It's hard to let go of the vine. It's hard for many reasons, right? There's fear there. There's uncertainty. There's financial concerns. There's a lot of stuff that goes through your mind as a business owner of hiring someone or putting people in place. Like what could happen? What if they sink the ship or this or that? You know, if you have the right checks and balances in place, you don't have to worry about that. Are they going to lose some money along the way? Absolutely. But that's just part of the journey. There's no way to build without some money getting lost, without having some months or even years where you don't make money. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
But for me, you know, getting out and out of the way and getting people in the right seats on the bus that are actually better than me doing those roles and performing those roles, the company does better.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, because I feel like, you know, and just other people that I've seen, business owners, that they don't realize that they are the problem.
Yes. 100%.
And it's hard to, and a lot of these other people come in and they're like, well, this person's paying me. I can't tell them that. But that's exactly what they need to hear.
Yes, 100%. So I got to share a funny story. When I first started getting coached with my one-on-one coach, so he's like, okay, we're going to go through everything. So I just want you to talk to me about what's working in the business, what's not, right? So I said, okay, obviously there's only one or two things working. There's a whole laundry list of shit that's not working. So I'm going through all the stuff, employees and this and that and the industry and the vendors and profit and la, la, la. All huge, long list of shit that's not working. And he's looking at me and looking at the list. And he goes, okay, so that sounds good, but there's one big thing. I think I figured out the problem, but there's one big thing that's missing from the list as to why you're not successful. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck could it be, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, damn, did I forget marketing? No. Did I forget sales? Is it finances? Is it the right software? I'm going through all my notes and stuff, and he's just sitting there with like this smirk on his face. I'm like, what's missing from the list? He goes, I don't see Matt Murray's name written down on the list. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He goes, all those things are not working because of you. It's not all those things. It's not your employees, not the industry, not the vendor, not the software, not the this, not the that, blah, 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 blah. He goes, you're the problem. You're the common denominator of all these things. And I was like, fuck, you're shitting me.
Yeah.
That was the truth, right? And that's a big pill that you have to swallow when you are growing a business, and then you get some help or you get coached, or maybe you have a buddy that owns a business that's successful, and you have to look in the mirror and go, wait, I'm the problem? No. How can that be?
Yeah. And it's hard.
You're the biggest problem.
Yeah. And a lot of guys, they'll make excuses.
Yes.
Oh, fuck you. That's not the case. And really it is a tough pill to swallow. And you have to, going back to, you have to be uncomfortable to grow. And sometimes I'm the kind of person I know, and the whole management, they tell you the shit sandwich. You say something nice and then you hide in what you're trying to say, and then you say something good again. Fuck that. Yep. I'd rather somebody just kick me in the nuts and get it over with. I'm a big boy. I'll be okay. So I rather you say what you want to, what you got to say, and whether it's good or bad. I respect those people. And that's the kind of people I try to surround myself with, are the ones that are like, hey, Gil, you're a fucking idiot. Like some of my closest friends, when I was like, hey, man, I left my job, and they're like, you're a fucking moron. I'm like, I love you. They're like, but I know you'll be okay. I know the kind of man you are. But I like that they give it to me real. I don't want them to be like, everything is going to be okay, buddy. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Because that's just not the truth. And that's the whole point, is putting, what do they say? Diamonds are made under pressure. And I feel like I always got to put that pressure on myself. Just to do anything. And I don't want to say do anything, because that doesn't sound good. But to move the ball forward. So, I can imagine that's hard to hear. And it's funny to say that story, so it had to be impactful for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you swallow that first pill, and then you can embrace that, like, I need feedback. I need someone to tell me what's wrong with me. The more and the faster you can get on board with that, the faster you can grow. I've paid a lot of money to make some people make me feel very, very, very uncomfortable. I spent $50,000 to get coached for 8 hours by one person for one day, $50,000, someone to make me feel uncomfortable, to tell me the truth at the highest level, and to tell me shit I'm not seeing and I don't know, to help me bust through barriers and up level my mindset and my consciousness, and just give it to me, like you said, right square in the nuts, as hard and as fast as you can. Because did I like it? No, I hated it. I hated it. It was very, very uncomfortable. But coming out on the other side, there was fruit, there was promised land on the other side, right?
Yeah.
But nobody wants to pay that price. No one wants to hear the shit that's uncomfortable to get to the magic of their personal development and of their leadership until you do. And once you realize like growth is a good thing, or sorry, the discomfort is a good thing, struggle is the way, that's then you can get on board with that mission and that concept and you can embrace more of it. But it never, ever, ever feels good. But the magic on the other side feels amazing.
Yeah, and when you start reading, pick anybody who's successful in whatever industry or area that you want. And if you read their biography or you look into their life story, they struggled.
Yes.
I promise you. You know what I mean? They failed until they didn't fail anymore. That's
Correct.
how it works.
Yes.
You know, and that's what people, nothing comes easy. And I know it's getting worse, the world we're living in now, you know, where kids graduate high school and they want to be the CEO of a company. It's like, well, it doesn't fucking work that way. Not everybody can be a YouTube star or an influencer. You got to get a real job. Sorry, buddy. But it's, and that's why my kids, it's, I've been able to do things in life. I don't hurt for anything, but, and I do give my kids things, but other times I make them earn it. I always tell them, I'll help you do anything. I'll do nothing for you. That's just the way it's going to work, because that's not going to help them do anything in life. I want my kids to go off and be successful in whatever it is they want to do. I don't want them living in my fucking basement, you know, mooching off me when they're 40. Because if they do, then that means I did something wrong.
Right. Yep. 100%. Yeah, they have to grow. And the same thing with your people in a company. You know this. You ran a big company. You gotta give them the information, give them some help and some guidance, but they gotta go cut their teeth. They have to go through the motions. They have to go fail. They have to go screw it up. They have to go mess it up. Now back on culture, like fail fast, fail often, but we have to learn from our failures too, right? So fail quick, but then it has to be a non-negotiable that we must learn. Learning from failure is mandatory. It's a non-negotiable that we don't learn. In other words, we can't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, we learn through our failures. We learn through discomfort.
Yeah, no, I agree. The basement is yours, rookie. I'm sorry. One of my good friends in here, he said, hey, that basement's off limits. It's mine. You come to Maryland, the basement's yours, buddy. I'm sorry. I won't give your basement away.
Nice.
But anything, you know, so some of these, I love the information. I feel like we've covered a lot, even though I feel like we should probably do another episode to cover more. Sure. But I also just love learning the stuff about, you know, people. I've actually been cheating. I have this sitting in front of me.
Nice.
Try to be prepared. But I love the stuff that you said about, you know, being a risk taker and seeing what people do in their everyday life says a lot about a person. So the fact that the boats and the flying and stuff like that. So I love to learn a little bit more about the other things besides blue collar, the behind the blue collar king, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So, I can remember being a little kid in shitty diapers and handing dad wrenches out of the toolbox as he's working on the Jeep or the side job head gasket change out on the Camaro in the driveway. So kind of a gearhead, motorhead growing up. We had the 3-wheelers, ATCs, and then that turned into dirt bikes. And then I got my own off-road Jeep and car. And I always loved working on stuff. And I always loved making it faster. I have kind of a competitive spirit. And anytime I could make something quicker, faster, better, I was always all about it. So I love the desert. I love the river, the Colorado River. 21-foot tunnel hull jet boat with a Bluon 632 cubic inch big block that made 1,500 horsepower on the dyno and going 130 miles an hour. I like that. I like that kind of shit.
Me too.
So anything fast is fun. I became a Cessna pilot in 2010. So getting into little beer cans with 250 horsepower engines hooked up to the front of them and going 10,000 feet up in the air, I find fun for some reason. My wife actually enjoys it too. So I just love all that stuff. I love fast things.
Yeah.
I love traveling. I absolutely love going down to Baja, Mexico, and going out on the water and going fishing and having some tacos and relaxing on the beach. I love traveling. I love the Caribbean. I just love nature, and I love people, and I love having a good time. I'm 48 years old now. You know, I'm slowing down a lot. For a lot of years, I was pretty wild. I was a partier. You know, I was in that party lifestyle and drinking and crazy and all that stuff. I don't drink anymore. That's all long gone and all behind me. So, married, 2 kids. My son's 12. My daughter's 11. We live here in Orange County and just doing our thing. You know, just like I said, just going through the motions of life. And the more shit I can fuck up, the more I learn and the better I get.
That's awesome, man. And I in the same way. I love to travel, and I feel like I've been so busy doing things I haven't been able to do it. You know, and all that stuff goes into the decision that I made. I hate going back to that because I just want to make that announcement and be done with it. But that's how I feel now is being able to do what I love, but also be able to spend time with the people that I love. And I feel like I've been so busy that I've put them last. Well, they're the reason I do all this for. You know what I mean? I'm going against my own advice. And that's one of those things. I love all those things. I love to travel. I would love to fly, but I've always had this phobia that I would be one of those people to die in a plane crash.
Yeah, I agree.
It's weird.
So that's what got me into flying, because I was actually scared of the airplane. So being a fisherman, I was also scared of like falling in the water. So I became a scuba diver too. So I started diving actually because I was afraid to fall into the ocean. And then with airplanes, I had kind of a fear or a phobia too of airplanes. I've made a very nice career out of fixing stuff that's broken, whether it be cars, off-road cars, or air conditioning units, right? So you can imagine like being a mechanic and having a mechanical mindset, being in an airplane, your mind can start wandering. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to figure it out. So that's how I got into flying, and that's how I became a scuba diver. It was a fear thing, and it was me wanting to like just face it and get over it.
That's awesome. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Yep.
Fishing, I'll fish anywhere. And found out 2 cool things in my neighborhood this week is we have a huge body of water that I didn't even know existed. So I moved an hour away from where I used to live. I used to live closer to Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
Now I live closer to DC. Just a nicer area, nicer neighborhood. Got an amazing deal in the house. But yeah, I can go down there and go fishing. Probably can't eat anything I catch out of there, which that's fine. But I'll sit there all day and just fish. I took my daughters down to see it, and there was a black snake going across, so they about crapped themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is
I'm not good with that.
I hate snakes.
Yeah, snakes I'm not cool with. Snakes in water where I swim, I'm absolutely not good with. My wife went to school in Texas, and they were into water skiing and wakeboarding and stuff. She's like, oh yeah, there's copperheads and this and that. I'm like, okay, no. Colorado River, there's no snakes, there's catfish and some other stuff. I'm good with that. But when there's snakes in the water, I'm not getting in. I'm out with that. That's where I draw the line. My overcoming fears and my adrenaline junkiness, it stops when there's snakes in the water. That's where the buck stops.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to my daughters about the snake, and I knew it was a black snake, and it wasn't crazy big. It looks. I zoomed in to make it look bigger, like I'm some fucking hero or something. So if I share a video tomorrow, it just looks bigger than it is. But I was just telling my daughters, but yeah, I don't do snakes, especially back in the days crawling through attics and I see snake skins. I'm like, shit, now I know it got bigger. Like, let's get moving and get the hell out of here. Yeah, but another cool fact is the defensive end. I don't know if you're a sports fan, like football or anything, but Chase Young, who played for the Washington Commanders, now plays for the San Francisco 49ers. His mom lives 3 houses down.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. I was talking to a neighbor and she waved to me and he's like, oh, you know who that is, right? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. And he was like, oh, that's Chase Young's mom and sister. They live right there. I was like, no way. I was like, that's pretty sweet. So got some cool people in the neighborhood. But we're at an hour, Matt, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I'm so glad that I was wrong about the reschedule and you came on. I'm so happy to finally meet you, and I would definitely love to do this again. I love what you're doing. Obviously, I just met you, but you only get one chance to make a first impression, and I really love what you're doing, what you stand for, and how you go about it, which means a lot because I think there's a lot of vulnerable business owners out there, like you said, that are looking for help. And they're wasting money getting screwed over. And I feel bad for those people. And I hope that they hear this and at least try to go another avenue, because that's the part that just kills me, knowing that happens. And it's not something I can stop with a microphone, but I'll try.
Yeah. So if you guys are listening out there, do your research before you sign up for a program, a seminar, a workshop, a system, right? Ask about the intimacy. Who will you be working with? What's it going to look like? How often will you meet? Will we meet on Zoom? Will we meet in person? How many people will there be? Will I get to talk? Will I be muted out? Just do your research. Just do a lot of good research. Ask for references. Ask who they're currently working with, but ask how. Ask how we're going to grow. How am I going to get to where I want to go? If I'm 1 million and want to go to 3, how are we going to get there and how quickly? And then ask them, what's the interaction going to look like? How are we going to work together? Just ask some really good questions.
And I will say this, and I'd love to get and I'm not saying you got to stay on what you charge. That's not what I mean. But people have reached out to me and said, oh, this person charges X. That's a lot of money. I can do it, but it's going to be risky. Well, it should be risky. Yes. A good coach is not gonna be cheap. It's just doing the exact same things that you just said. Make sure you're getting what you're paying for, but it's not something that should be like anything. No risk, no reward. You're not going to get a good coach, and you're going to pay for it. It's going to cost you $10 a month. Like, that's not how these things work. So, to everybody out there, to kind of answer that question in a nutshell, because I must have got like a couple hundred emails about that before, is it's supposed to hurt a little bit. So just do your research to make sure that you're getting the information. So it's that little, like we just said, it's that kick in the nuts to feel good in a couple of months, a year from now. And then you're like, that's the best X amount of dollars I ever spent. That's the way 100%. It's supposed to work.
Yeah, it should not be cheap, for one. But another way to look at it is, what am I leaving on the table? So whatever program you buy, whether it's $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, whatever it is, what are you missing out on by not having the blueprint, by not having the help, the support, the coaching? It's not so much about the monthly payment that you have to come out of pocket, but you shouldn't look at it. It shouldn't be looked at as an expense or a cost. It should be looked at as an investment, and the right investments absolutely produce a multiple return on the investment. But what entrepreneurs need to look at is, what am I leaving on the table by not having it? That's what's actually expensive. If you're $1 million a year company and you could very quickly be at 2 million or 3 million, it's not the monthly investment with the coach that's expensive. It's the $100,000 a month, the $150K a month, the $200K a month you're leaving on the table, just speaking of top line only. And then we're going to get into production efficiency, labor efficiency, proper pricing, and those types of other things, looking at leakage, financial leakage in the organization. So the return starts to go up very quickly when you're making the right investment, but we call this opportunity loss or unrealized losses. These are things that you're losing that you don't see in front of you because you haven't been shown yet how to calculate these things. And that's where the real magic or real opportunity is what's being left on the table. It's not about the monthly investment in the intellect or the help. It's solving the problem and closing the gap of what you're leaving on the table. That's where the real opportunity lies.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't realize it costs more to not do it than it does to do it.
100%.
And That's just the truth. And sadly, I've been on both sides of that. So, yeah, and it sucks to know, man, woulda, coulda, shoulda, and we've all had those in life. Man, wish I'd have did this. If I'd have did that, I could have did this. Well, I try to live my life in woulda, coulda, shouldas because it's in the past. So
for sure. Yeah. Exactly. I learned that the hard way, but eventually I learned to pay the piper. Like, I just pay. I don't want to do trial and error mode. If I want to go from 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 or 20 to 30, I don't want to do trial and error. Go find somebody. Like, if I'm 20 now and I want to go to 30, I'm going to go pay for the way to get to 30. That someone else has already done that before me. I'm gonna pay them for their wisdom, their experience, their knowledge, their coaching, and their guidance along the way. So I'm not wasting years and years and years and millions of dollars trying to figure it out myself. If you want to build $100 million company, go hire somebody that knows how to build $100 million companies. That's the thing to do. If you want to build a 10, hire a 10, 20, same, 30, right?
Yeah, that's why I find it funny.
Easier way.
Yeah, some of these coaches, these guys want to build $10 million companies, but they're hiring coaches who built $2 million companies.
Correct.
It's 100%. Like, well, that I'm not saying that guy who built the $2 million company is bad, but he's the guy that should be teaching the new guy go from 0 to 2. And then he's got to get another coach to do his specialty. But when I see these people and they're like, oh, I'm stuck at 2 million, but I hired this coach, and I know that person personally, and I know their business was a $2-3 million business, which, hey, more power to them. It's like, you probably got the wrong coach.
Correct. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not upsizing here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're paying for a helper, and you've outsourced some assistants.
No, I agree. But I guess real fast, a bunch of my moderators already put your website in there. If people want to get to you, is that the best way to get to you? Is the bluecollarking.com?
Yeah, bluecollarking.com is my website. You can also look me up on Instagram, The Real Blue Collar King, or just search Matt Murray Blue Collar King on Facebook. So there's 3 easy ways to get a hold of me. Don't be shy. Send me text messages. Ask me questions. I love helping people. Bring me your problems. Bring me, whatever you want to do. Hit me up. Text me. Ask me questions. I got a free Facebook group too. You can jump in there and get some free answers from me. But I'm here to help. I love helping people grow, build their business, build your mindset, build your leadership. That's my passion, and reach out. Don't be shy.
That's awesome. Well, if you just hang tight, give me like 5 minutes. I'm going to close this thing out, Matt. Thank you so much for coming here, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Everyone, especially on Instagram, he's on all of them, but go check out, The Real Blue Collar King on Instagram and check out the videos. I literally watched every single one of his videos. I think it's amazing content. Whether you're looking for a coach or not, it might just get your mindset right. He shared a lot of positive things, a lot of truths, and a lot of it is what you guys have heard me say over the years, maybe in different words, different context, but that's why I thought it was so awesome. So, definitely go check that out. So thank all you guys for being here tonight. I actually started a show early. How about that shit? Fuck you, rookie. Love you, buddy. But it's a new chapter in life. I'm definitely I'm super excited for it. A little scared, but it is what it is. I'll be fine. I always have been. I've been a hustler all my life, and sometimes things have to happen. So I appreciate all the kind words, all the ball busting, but I do appreciate you guys. But let me close this thing out. So make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites. Stay up to date on everything that I've got going on. Remember, new podcast came out Monday with Miss Rachel Martins. I'm sorry, HVAC Install Her. Great episode. If you haven't checked that out, please go do so. And go back and watch some of the video. Last Friday, if you weren't here, the episode with Rob Kraft, aka HVAC Slayer, was absolutely awesome. I love that episode. It's one of the only episodes where I didn't talk much, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Robert is an amazing dude, and I'm so glad that me and him are keeping in touch now because it was an awesome episode. All right. With that being said, be safe out there. All right. We all have somebody to make it home to. I keep looking at the wrong camera. Sorry. We all have somebody to make it home to. Keep your head on a swivel. All right. Driving. Turning that breaker off. I don't care if your boss says, oh, it's off. Double check. Just be careful. All right. There's too many things getting overlooked nowadays. And sadly, people aren't making it home. All right. I want each and every one of you, especially all my HVAC brothers and sisters, to make it home to your families at the end of the day. All right. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Don't talk about it. Be about it. And if you're going to do it at 100% or don't fucking do it. All right. If you're that super tech that you know everything, give back to the people around you. Make them better. All right. It's just going to take workload off of you. That little thing that you wanted to learn, whether it's HVAC or not, go do it. All right. Nowadays, there's no reason to say, I don't know. We have the interweb at our fingertips. So that excuse doesn't work anymore. All right. Keep being the best version of you. Obviously, you guys know I'm always here to help you in any way. And now I have a lot more free time to do it. So just email me. You can still use the HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com, but the new email you should be using is info@hvacuncensored.com. And I'll be checking those emails. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that I possibly can. If I don't know the answer, because of the podcast, I've been fortunate enough, I will get you in touch with the right person to be able to answer that question. With that being said, I love you, mofos. Until next week, see ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
And thank you to all my moderators. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.